continue on. There's a couple pieces of cake, $1. Just saying. All right, being that there are no blue cards, we'll dispense with our community open forum and move into personnel. Can I get a motion to accept item D in its entirety?
I'll second.
Mrs. Nickerson, second by Mrs. Fishman. Any discussion on D, just personnel? All those in favor? Thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. I will make a motion to accept item E in its entirety. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. McCarthy. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. And with that, we would like to recognize and thank Mary Steffen, who made a generous donation to the art department. Great night for that to happen. Very much appreciated. And so then we move in, we already did our special presentation report, so we move into reports and unfinished business. I don't think, Ms. Cole, look what you tell me if I'm wrong, but you have anything new on secondary Big Brother, Big Sister?
No, Logan wasn't here though, so I talked to him a little bit beforehand. He's also had an opportunity to talk to Miss O'Mara. And rather than do a standalone, we're going to tap Onondaga County, because Onondaga County has an established Big Brother, Big Sister for secondary level kids. So we're going to be meeting with Miss O'Mara and really talk about what those particulars are and how do we immediately start.
Yeah, can I just present a couple of things from student government?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got a couple programs that are up and coming. November 14th, Robert Good is a Vietnam War veteran, and he's coming in with about four or five other veterans, and he's bringing in a war memorabilia Civil War to Vietnam collection. And it's uniforms, helmets, decorations, medals, encased swords, and no guns. And it's open to all students in advisement. Assignments will be in the social studies department. And then we also have Mary Latham. And Mary Latham lost her mother tragically to cancer and found the reading materials in hospitals to be very depressing. In honor of her mother, she's collecting stories of kindness from all over the country to make a book to distribute to waiting rooms, and she only has 2 states left to visit, and that is New York and Hawaii. Our yearbook committee and yearbook classes have been really great with reaching out, and they invited her to come present to our school, and she will meet with the freshmen in the auditorium October 28th, and she will present to them, encouraging students to do small things for others and bring happiness to their day. And while she's here, she would like to collect stories of kindness from them and just get their input for the book. And then Mrs. Enright was pleased that the student government wanted to bring back the Winter Craft Rally. So right now, it's a little iffy still, but we're looking at around the 20th of December. And it's kind of just a little basis, but we're working towards making it a real thing this year, and hopefully it doesn't get snowed out. So that's my thought yet. That's what we'll be working on for the next couple of weeks.
Logan, what's the time of the 28th?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, on the 28th. What time is that?
It's just advisement, so she will present to freshmen during advisement. So, which is like 10:45.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. We had, at the last meeting, Mrs. Wood brought up a board retreat, and so tonight was, I don't know if you're ready to suggest dates or topics, check the appetite of the board or the availability of the board for a retreat, but we want to put it on there so it didn't not get talked about. So, did you have anything you wanted to propose at this time?
I know that we can take this, I think it has suggested what something to them. OCs, I know, was the bits and pieces. I think Randy, didn't you do a presentation years ago for us?
I did a board workshop.
Yeah. So we can reach out to them too. As far as the time, I leave it up to anybody
So what,
What's the impetus of this board retreat? What is the reason for it?
It's education.
so are there particular topics that we don't or can't cover at our meeting? 'Cause like in the past, before this year began, I know Tom had talked about, you know, we break things up into chunks and do like these presentations at the meetings, just because it is so tough to manage 9 people's schedule to get that going. So is there something that couldn't be covered in chunks here that would require that? And I say that simply from my viewpoint, I think it's incredibly tough to get another meeting on the schedule.
If you're talking about having someone present it, I think, yeah, I mean, so how do you post it if we do it? I mean, contact someone to come in and do it?
Well, so I guess that's part of it, a board retreat. So in your mind, you're saying a board retreat meaning someone from the outside coming in and presenting to us, not conducting our own board retreat.
No, we do not conduct it ourselves. We have it, it's an educational, just, I mean, and it's good to be, you know, it gives everybody so that we're all on the same page about going into school buildings, what not doing, what to do, what not to say, what to say, that kind of stuff. And it's just a refresher for everybody.
So open up to the,
My only experience has been this is my 7th year, and I will admit we've had dysfunctional boards in the past. We've had them, whether they brought any results. I'm not a big proponent of it, quite candidly.
But
I'll say
it's
that
not,
publicly.
but it's an educational thing. There are some of us that have not you and I, but there are some that have never been through this process. And that's your opinion. My opinion, I think we need it.
Well, you're right, and I get an opinion.
Yeah.
So I'll wait for the others to, that's exactly what it should, is my opinion. I don't see it as valuable, I don't think it is needed. I think we've got a board president and vice president that are, operate a very participative board. I haven't heard things of been gone astray, or that people are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And again, it's my opinion, 1 of 8, so.
other thoughts on either the desire or the structure or timing, anything?
Well, I'm a proponent of doing it in front of the public. I mean, if we're going to try and educate, or we're going to
But it's
have
a
topics.
board retreat. It's not.
But I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that if it's something that we're going to be the board's going to be educated on and presented to, it should be done in front of the public. We have 26 meetings a year, get it scheduled. I mean, I'll just tell you, for me, my Saturdays are precious. So you just ate, is it between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or is it after the holidays, or, you know, when is it?
We could do it in the spring. Do it sometime in the spring.
So we meet every 2 weeks, you know, whatever topics you want to do, or you have somebody come in and brief on it, and do it in front of the public, in my opinion.
Anyone else? So is there any, what I'm looking for, is there anyone, and this is quite frankly particularly for our newer members, if you have a burning desire, a need, a want, for me, the only thing I'd say is to do any sort of retreat. I'm with Mr. Patch, by the way, even though we could do a board retreat and have it not be a public meeting, to me, it very much limits what we can do. Even in a board retreat, we can't discuss direction for the district
Right.
and what we're going to do without the public there.
That's
And for
right.
me, I don't want to lock myself in someplace for 4 hours without talking about the direction and the future of the district. So for me, I wouldn't want to do it outside the public, but I'm open for diverging opinions. So if anyone wants that, desires that, you know, let's
Well, the
bring it up.
person that would conduct it is not going to want, I mean, it's not going to be, we're not going to talk about anything specifically with what's going on in our district. It's the chain of command, it's what the superintendent's job is, and a list, you know, goes through all of that stuff, and what the board's process is, and lists all those things. What, you know, what should be done, what shouldn't be done, things like that.
So based on that description, is there anyone that desires that sort of retreat and information. That's not to put you on the spot, if there's a desire for it, great. If not, I'm not sure we should force it.
So as the new board member that didn't have a decade or more of experience prior, I'm not sure a generic one would be as useful as one that actually was our district's information. Like, what is our work structure here? Who are those faces? I don't know if it's better for that kind of stuff to be done in a retreat or in the public. I don't know if there's a way to, we just had a meeting 11 days ago. Is there a way that maybe one of the board meetings, instead of taking additional time, could turn into something like that? And then you go for a month between voting on or moving on district stuff. So kind of a compromise of the two, I don't know. But there's a lot of information that I think I need or we need to do the job, and a lot of you guys have already settled in. I'd be interested to hear from the, the three that are hitting their third year now. I'm sure that you rewind 2 years ago, there was a lot of stuff that you don't know or didn't know. The article in the onboard this month that talked about a governance handbook, I thought would be a great idea. I'm guessing that our student board member isn't 100% knowledgeable on exactly what the board's purpose is and how everything is ran.
It's basically what a board retreat will do for us too. It will list the governance issues, what is superintendent's job, what's the board president's job, what's the board's job. And then it all connects with what, that kind of thing.
So I think that would be, to me, it would be valuable if it was not a generic, because I got the NISBA training on kind of governance. And that was helpful, but I think the next step is for it to be more district specific. If it's a generic one, I'm not sure that that's beneficial or not.
So it would be fair to say if you're looking for something where if we look at the meeting schedule down the road, try to line it up so there's a night, we do the 5 minutes, maybe vote on the mandatory things that might be on the agenda, but no other presentations, and then we move into, if the public wanted to attend, they could, but a workshop specific to our district on all the things you talked about, role structure, board governance, hierarchy, org structure, that sort of thing. So on a regular meeting night.
That's one potential option.
Well, and you could even get into more detail if you wanted to. You could get into what does the role of OC play, what does transportation do differently. I've been here 20 years and I can't tell you everything that John Pierce does. I can't tell you what everything Maureen does, and those are strong component pieces to a district.
So we used to do that.
Almost like I know when I first started with Walt Dory, and Lori can attest to this, we had before we even got on the board, we were like 6 meetings of we knew who everybody was. He'd come in and introduce everybody. Jack Monica, who is now gone, but Bob Palmer, who's gone too, because it's official. And they told us what they did, and they explained what role they played. And
We did that when I started, and we had it, but again, to Andy's point, I get how all of you are extremely busy, you don't get paid to do this job. So we had those little sessions where it would be like Maureen would talk about everything about the budget, Connie would be talking about everything about personnel, and the org chart, and who people go to and for different reasons and whatnot. We had it for transportation, but then we realized it was very, very difficult with 9 board members with their lives and how many meetings. And at that point, we were running probably emergency board meetings was the norm.
Well,
So,
and I don't have a problem with a workshop at the board meetings. I can tell you this, a lot of this stuff, I think we could do in one meeting to a degree. Even like personnel and stuff. We buzz through these sometimes in an hour, and are done. If you took another hour afterwards and just had a work session or I don't know what you want to call it, not a retreat, but a work session type thing that talks about what, I can tell you this, I know nothing about special ed. I would love to hear Dr. Collins come in here and talk about special ed for an hour so that I can go, oh, you can do that? You know, I mean, what little I know of special ed is probably nothing compared to what you do. I mean, I don't have a special ed kid or something.
Sure.
You know, so I might
That's
want to.
no, that's very different than board, I mean,
I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's retreat versus workshop.
that's my point, I guess. What the hell is what are the issues we're trying to deal with? I mean, you know, I'm certain, I'll say publicly, and you can stream it from here to California, I ain't sitting through a 5-hour retreat to listen to board governments and that nonsense. If we don't know it, ask the questions, let's deal with it here, meeting after meeting after meeting.
So don't come, Ken.
I probably won't, obviously.
How many meetings did you come to this year?
It's sent out every month, Lori.
I know.
It's an issue for you and one community member, that's about it. I've got a job to do. It's an issue for you and a past board member, let's get on with it.
No.
That's the only damn reason those questions come up. I've got a job to do. This is an unpaid job. I'm here as much as I can possibly be here.
Let's tone down everything.
And by the way, excuse me, Mr. President, if there's if there's an issue with that, have at it, say it out loud, say it to me directly.
I definitely.
And if there's something needed in a pinch, I have told both the superintendent and the board president, I will be here in a heartbeat. That's a hidden agenda, and I don't like it, and I'm calling you on it.
I did
Because there's
not.
a community member in this community that's been asking about my presence at these meetings. Tell him to show up and ask me.
When Mike Loy, myself, and Steve Patch came on board, I remember we had this educational, it was optional, I think, if you wanted to come. And it was a half hour or an hour before certain board meetings, and it was spread out, so, you know, it wasn't too overwhelming. But I mean, and I thought it was helpful, because I remember what you were talking about with this I think it kind of fell by the wayside last year, because the 3 board members were incumbents that were elected. And so there was really no need to give the new board member, this is this person, this is what they do. But, you know, I think because we didn't do it last year, it was probably an afterthought this year when we had new board members come on. And so, I mean, I didn't mind attending those sessions. I didn't think it was too over demanding. And, you know, to the extent that maybe we could carve out 1 or 2 of the 26 meetings a year to be relatively short, like what you're talking about, we have maybe 2 hours, since most of the people that are going to present are here with our board meetings every night anyway.
And we don't go home, so
Right.
we're here, so we can go back to doing that and say, okay, hey, all things transportation, or all things special ed. We're making some major changes for special ed and cleaning up IEPs, the whole high-cost aid and the thousands we're going to be getting back. That's something I think every board member would be interested in, because that's going to be very useful. We can absolutely go back to that and spread it out. So what I'd like to do is, I want to let the board know what we already have planned for that, and if there's anything, like Kathy, you were saying, if there's anything like org charter personnel, anything like that you don't see on there, let me know, and we can work those sessions in as well, for anybody that wants to come to them.
So the action steps right now are, Tom, you're saying you will follow up and or Pearl, whichever, but let the board know what is already planned, topics-wise and rough dates and stuff. Then our responsibility is any gaps. If you have an interest in something that's not already covered, then we need to express that. That gives them plenty of time to plan for it. But I go back to Mrs. Sunday's point, which I really agree with, which is let's not set ourselves up to have to do this every year. So let's develop in a way, for instance, even if we have one of these boards where we record it, like the classroom session, so that it becomes a board video library. I mean, the names may change, but the roles don't necessarily change every year, right? So I know you guys have plenty of work to do as it is, so let's maybe set it up so it becomes a library we can access and utilize.
Lori, if you have particular concern about, you know, refresher on board governance and things like that, that might be something that could be covered in an hour or an hour and a half, that we could have somebody come in and present on. If you have an interest in doing something like that, you know, but I don't know that we need 4 or 5 hours of that. I mean, I remember the new board member training just over 2 years ago, and I feel like it was a portion of the
Yeah, and this is a little bit more detailed, but again, it's a question and answer kind of thing, so you can probably avoid some of that.
All right, so that's at least the immediate action steps. Tom will let us know what's on the docket already planned. Then I'll work with Pearl, we'll develop something where we can provide the feedback on additional topics we might want. But again, just keep timeline in mind, this isn't gonna happen overnight, so they then need time to develop the content that's gonna be presented, so. Pearl, you can just note that for unfinished business, because obviously with the conference coming up this week, everything already on the plate, I'm not gonna say that at the next meeting, we're gonna have that ironed out, so we'll just put it on unfinished business, and we'll look to move forward from there. All right. All right, with that, let's move into the rest of kind of the open board forum. Our student rep already covered, so anyone else have topics or questions that they'd like to bring up? All right. Next then is going to be the 2019 voting delegates guide. I think Pearl's going to bring it up on there. I had sent out the ones that I knew I wanted to bring up, so I will start with those, and then if anyone has any additional, we can definitely cover those. So remember, the way this is going to work, we're not going to talk about all, I don't even know how many resolutions there are, a lot, 20 or 30. Only the ones where we disagree with their recommendation, or where someone wants to talk about it. So the proposed bylaw amendment A it's the very first thing on the docket. I'm not a fan of this bylaw change that they're asking for, and it says resolve that bylaws of the NISBA shall be amended to expand membership on the resolutions committee to include a representative from the New York State Caucus of Black School Board Members. And my reason is pretty simple. We talked about it last year. I think when you designate someone to be on a board of directors based on the color of their skin, it is racism, no matter what color that skin is. I think it means that they lessen our ability to take into account what's best for all students. I think I'm not in support of them adopting this bylaw, and I would ask the board that we have a chance vote no on it as our representative. So, anyone want to add more comments?
Agree wholeheartedly.
All right, so to put it to a vote then, all those in supporting of having a chance vote no on bylaw resolution A. Thank you. My next one, I believe, is resolution 7, resolve of the that NISBA support the requirement that local school districts continue to make determinations as to the substantial equivalency of education delivered in non-public schools. Really interested in any of the admin that have input on this. So as I understand it, the rule today is, or I don't know how new it is, but the local district is responsible to determine that a student, if we had a private school in our boundaries, if a student decided to attend that, it's ultimately Tom's responsibility to make sure that that school is offering an equivalent education to Central Square. Tom's not their employee. I think it's a stacked deck against public education. I think it's a bad resolution. Is there anything I'm missing, Tom? Is there a reason that this would be a good?
How does this impact, like, people that are homeschooled? Is that included?
I think that's a different set of rules.
Yeah, no, that's not, homeschool is not the same as this.
New York State Ed actually monitors that. Parents have to submit plans and everything there. Right?
So right now, we don't have to do anything in this,
Correct.
but to the extent when a charter school popped up.
Then it's what?
then we-
I know something that some people thought was kind of new. Other districts were talking about it too, it was always there, and that we have to let a teacher in a public school in New York State take a year off to go work at a charter school and then hold their seniority here for when they want to come back.
Yeah, that's actually in our policy that we're.
Yeah, so that's not like a Central Square. I think that it's just, to me, and I've said it before, we say some things here and we send the message out. I just think there's so many things being done that are targeting public school that making it very difficult to run the type of program that we need to run with all of these different things coming out from the state.
So any objection or any other comments on number 7 not supporting it? All right, all those in favor of having a chance to vote no? Thank you. The next one is resolution number 13, and it also ties in, so I'll just do them together. Resolution 17, I believe. Nope. 18. 13 and 18. 13 is that NISBA support legislative action in the regulation of vapor products, including consumption, manufacturing, distribution, and advertisement. And number 18 is that they support legislation that would increase the penalties against any business that sells vaping products to to or adult purchasing vaping products for any person who is underage. My simple view is this: I don't think there's any school board in New York State that supports that we would sell vaping to underage kids. And I think NISBA is watering down where they should focus their time on. This is a non-education issue. That's
Correct.
So,
That's my 2 cents.
like it. Any other comment on those two then? All those in favor have a chance? Vote. No one does. Thank you. All right, and number 20 is the last one as far as what NISBA is supporting that I would not, which is that the NISBA produce and widely recommend the adoption of a sample board policy stating that all Board of Education members will each year participate in at least one new training which has been approved by the board. I don't want a state entity telling the local district what they do and don't have to do, pure and simple. We want to set our own rules and policy, we'll do it. Any other commentary? All those in favor voting no on that one? Thank you. And then the last one is in the pile or in the slate where NISBA is not supporting it. And I just can't read which one it is, so I apologize. Oh, that's the problem. Give me 1 second. I'm hoping I didn't stop printing too early. Don't know. Sorry, give me 1 minute. No, sorry, I think that was actually it. I think I talked myself through the one. So are there any others that anyone would like to discuss? And if not, then what we are saying is that Chance would follow NISBA's recommendation. She would vote in the affirmative on the ones they recommend and vote in the negative on the ones that they recommend. All right, there being none, Chance, have your marching orders. Enjoy. All right, next on the docket. Pass it down is working on board goals. Sorry, give me one back. Sorry, I'm going to ask maybe Mr. Hoyt and Logan to share. Sorry, I thought I had extra copies.
Hey, Andy, real quick, the ones that are not numbered, the ones we were looking at, you're kind of digging something on, how do they get approached? For example, the ones with potential resolutions.
The ones at the end after the opposed.
Yeah, it's all the way toward the end, and
Yeah.
there's a handful of them that are not numbered, they're labeled potential resolutions.
Yeah, so they will still, every one of them will be brought up as a topic. They'll have a chance to be put forth for a vote. NISBA will express their against, and then they'll have a chance for rebuttal. There's several microphones in the room, and people can line up, vote, and you listen to the support and against for both, and then they vote at the end.
Oh, no, I know that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, there's one right here that I talked to you about, I think, more directly. It's the on Terra School Board. Resolved that New York State School Board Association support the proposed New York Health Act and any legislation at state or federal level that provides single-payer health care for all New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Isn't that a little out of bounds when it comes to a school board, a school district, a school statewide? It seems very political in nature, excessively political in nature.
Yeah.
So how does this get addressed?
So it is in the pile of NISBA is not recommending that they adopt it. So the school board that put it forward has already gotten NISBA saying, hey, when this comes up, we're asking our members to vote against it.
No, they said support.
No, they will not make a recommendation on the adoption or not. They're not covering
Oh, I'm sorry, you're in the third
I'm in
pile now. Gotcha,
The
sorry.
potential resolutions that are, they're not numbered.
Yeah, so it's the same as the others, as far as it will come up, it will be voted on, people have a chance to speak. NISBA, in their very strong stance, has taken no stance at all. So it's
Resolved that New York State School Boards Association support the proposed.
well, that is the proposed resolution.
School board that made that resolution.
Right.
That's the language they put in.
So NISBA's not saying they do, every resolution is gonna say that, because
Okay, I'll leave it at that. I think that a school board of any sort, making a broad statement such as we support, we, us, you, me, everybody, support this level of political stance, I think is way out of line.
agreed.
Way out of line. And that's what I'm trying to get across here. How does that get brought up so that these people don't think that they're going to shove something down our throats across the entire state that is so far out of their purview? How does that happen? How does that word get put across?
Well, so, from the reading how these potential resolutions work in that first paragraph, Mike, it sounds like it's possible that, you know, they can make a motion at this meeting and Chance can be asked to vote on these things without NISBA's yay or nay. And to the extent we would want her to vote no, if it came up for a vote, we should definitely let her know. And I would wholeheartedly agree that if that came up for a vote, I would vote against it.
Yeah, so on that specific resolution, Mike, I think you're asking for the board to direct Chance to vote negative if it were to be brought to a vote.
There's no guarantee it'll be brought to
Right.
the table, but if it is, in fact, I think he's saying so strongly, he doesn't want her to just say no. He wants her to get up to the microphone and say, we don't appreciate, you know, the political stance of the state.
Since she's not here, this is definitely the time to do this. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think you just give her something she was from.
Yeah.
It's on page 32.
Yep, page 32, it's in the what do they call it, not undecided.
There's actually a few of them by
There's
that
a-
school
yeah, there's a
district
few.
that tend to be a little bit
Yeah.
out of scope.
Just for the record, does it by chance say what school district?
Yeah.
put
Yeah,
that?
on
Who put
Terra.
that? Let me
On Terra?
guess. Who?
On Terra, and they are known for this, there's three
Are they
or
down
four
the
every
city?
single year. I want to say Long Island.
Yeah.
ONTEORA school board.
Pretty
wherever
much
that
all the
is.
ones that they put up
Yeah,
are
Yes.
very political.
Exactly.
yep. So we will take a vote on that. So if this one were to come up to vote, all those in favor of directing our voting delegate to vote in the negative on it? Thank you. And Earl, so it's eight on that one. Just cancel.
Mike, would it also be the next one with the Child Health Plus program? But isn't that already the case? She need to get in.
She is a sweat, the county is a sweat.
Is that a good?
It's in New York, almost in Massachusetts.
Okay.
You hear that, Tim?
It's almost
School
in
district is almost in Massachusetts.
They're almost in Massachusetts.
So just to clarify, Mike has the same position with respect to the next resolution, which is requesting that resolve that the New York State School Board Association support legislation that requires every child in New York State age 0 to 21 be covered for free under the Child Health Plus program. I actually asked myself the question, I thought that was already the case, but maybe not. Is it all the way till 18?
No.
Or is it based on income?
But a lot of families don't know how to go about doing this, getting the health care to do it.
Yeah, but that's not what this is about. This is just requiring that the state cover all children age 0 to 21.
Yeah, but they will if you over.
Well, right, but so that's the point, is why are we asking NISBA to spend their time and effort to support legislation to that effect?
So I think what you said.
I think the political stance of some of these resolutions, potential or not, is so far out of the scope of a school board that someone needs to, well, in all honesty, educate these people where their boundaries are at. Them sitting up there proposing this kind of stuff, whether it's good or bad, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good, I'm saying it's out of scope. That I find to be, especially the first one, a bit aggravating, that it's taken, hell, pardon me, it's taken our time right now over something that I don't feel is within their prerogative to waste my time on. That's all. I'll be quiet now.
Nope. Agreed. So safe to, I think all of the ones by that district fall in the same category, Mike, that you want a chance, if they were to come to a vote in the negative.
Sure.
All right. All right, anything else on the resolutions?
Bylaw, this, but may not even bring them up for a vote.
Correct.
So, and I would hope they would, but
Yeah, it's a strong likelihood. I think even because they're not taking a stance on them, I think it's something like a 2/3 vote, just to, 2/3 of the people in attendance voting to take a vote. That's how great the government working right there.
How are you? Earl, who's the voting alternate?
Christie, all right. Yeah, you need it. All right, moving on to our Board of Education objectives. So Tom sent an updated with some more clarity and details, some dates and other measurable things on his goals to the board. We need to move into the portion of developing our goals or objectives, whatever you want to call them, to support that. You know, our 4 district goals have remained constant from last year. Support increased instructional engagement. 2 is sound fiscal practices to support student learning. 3 is provide an atmosphere that promotes 21st century citizenship. And 4 is foster a partnership between the district and the community. So what I propose, what I would propose, but you're welcome to say you're not favoring this, is you all have these sheets. Take these sheets and come up with some thoughts on, we do not have to have one for every one of those, by the way. Tom and everyone below in the district down to this classroom level has goals that align up to that. But as a board, where do we want to focus our time in the next remainder of this school year, and what measurables do we want to put to that? And then at our next meeting, come back and we're going to dedicate a significant portion of that meeting to discussing that, whiteboarding it, getting them finalized, and then posted. But as an example, like support the increase of instructional engagement. One measurable, as an example, might be that beginning in, let's say, December, the board has bi-monthly presentations by staff using the data dashboard that was developed the past year, and using that to identify changes or program enhancements for the future year, right? So the goal is to have that data to start looking, be a little more forward-looking. That's just one example, but if anyone opposed or additional thoughts to that process, you taking the time, bring these back to the next meeting, and that next meeting, we whiteboard it, vote on them, tweak them, finalize, and then they become the goals. Any other discussion or any thoughts on that?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, if before then you want to send them over, that's fine, I'll be glad to put them into whatever PowerPoint so they can be up there for everyone to see, and if not, you just want to whiteboard them here, that is fine as well. All right, anything else from the board before we move into items for discussion and action? Oh, thank you. Superintendent's report.
Real quick, here we go. I can make it big. Right, Central Squares girls volleyball team teamed up with Living Word Academy to raise money for More Than a Game Foundation. MTAG is a nonprofit organization that teams up with many local schools to establish games and tournaments in all sports to raise funds and awareness in the battle against cancer. All the proceeds are donated to Gallisano Hospital in Syracuse. This year, the girls raised $1,970. That's the picture. Congratulations to the girls soccer. They are the #1 seed, hosting the winner of CBA in Indian River this Thursday at 6 p.m. The boys, #5 seed, are playing at Watertown Thursday at 6 p.m. If you haven't been following the girls, it's pretty remarkable. It's the first time that they beat Janesville DeWitt. It's the first loss Janesville DeWitt has had in the regular season in 2 years. That was remarkable. For the boys soccer, it's pretty remarkable that they beat Fowler, which Fowler always has foreign exchange students that are phenomenal, and we beat them convincingly. The girls soccer team, it's pretty remarkable. They're a young team, and I'm really excited to see how far they go. Some of the 9th grade Redhawks, for those of you, that is a special program here, really targeted at-risk students. They went to Camp Hollis this month and did a lot of team building and problem solving. Thank you for supporting this trip, as we found that students worked really well together, and there were a lot of opportunities for them to be leaders, communicators, and problem solvers together. Students that ordinarily don't talk with one another were supportive of one another, and they were very kind. It was a great day, and there are pictures on the board. And while you're looking at these, we've got some remarkable things going on with a lot of our at-risk populations in all of our buildings. Connie, if you can let me know, I believe he's new. Help me with his name. The thing that we saw at the middle school when you and I were over there and we saw them outside, they were playing the football. Tim LaRose was doing something pretty remarkable for students that really were chronically absent, struggling to come to school. So they're being very creative across the district to do things that are going to engage these students for them to want to be able to come to school. From what I had heard, it is working. It's turning the dial on those students. And to Andy's point, when we put up the dashboard, that's what we're going to be looking at as one of our indicators was chronically absent students. They can't learn if they're not here. So it's pretty amazing to see what the teachers are doing with the students to get them to come in. Summer Cross, a sixth grader, has received her Girl Scout Bronze Award for spending a minimum of 20 hours putting together NICU Family Day at Krause Hospital. This is the highest honor a Girl Scout junior can earn. Summer and her troop raised money to donate a special baby swing for the NICU unit. If Chance was here, she'd be telling me to say NICU. And created colorful, inspirational quotes for families to place on the baby's crib. They had a 2-hour family event where families could decorate a onesie and children could watch a movie, play games, or color while parents were with their baby. Also, I want to be able to mention it was a very successful home show for the field band, although we came in second place, technically, because there were 2 teams that tied for first, but we still got second. And not jokingly, but it's been so close with the groups this year, off just by a fraction of points. So we're really excited to see where they compete Sunday, right? Sunday and Saturday. No, Sunday in the Dome. They've done a phenomenal job, and it's very hard for me not to mention how hard the parents and the volunteers. So again, I was there those 6 hours in the cold. I can at least come down and watch what's going on, but to see the amount of parents and the volunteers in the concession that aren't even get to watch their children is pretty remarkable. So when you look at that, that's always a great demonstration of the community that we have. Another thing I want to just mention again, the boys volleyball, JV and varsity were supported Make-A-Wish Foundation. What was it, Thursday?
There were 2 days. It was last Wednesday and then the Thursday before that.
Yeah, and so I haven't found out yet how much money was raised for Make-A-Wish. It's pretty cool to watch, though. They got their jerseys that say Make-A-Wish. There were a lot of things to be able to donate. I didn't win anything from the baskets, but again, it was a lot of fun. All of these events that are happening, I see our staff at a lot. I know Jenny Bianco isn't here today, but she and many people that you see at that table over there were at the home show. And all of these different sporting events and concerts and whatnot. So I think that's really good. I just wanted to be able to say that. So that thus ends my superintendent report.
Thank you. I'll tag on to say I believe at last count, Make-A-Wish was nearing $2,000. They are still accepting donations, just saying. If anyone wants to. It's really competitive between all the schools. The winner gets a nice plaque from Make-A-Wish, but they do great work. And one more kudo on the home show. All that goes into every event in this district. I wanted to call out Arena because Arena, unbeknownst to her, probably got massive kudos from Mr. Haldeman and the others, because apparently, the judges, just like we're in technology, the judges are all in technology and have to have really solid Wi-Fi. So I think you set up a separate network so that it didn't crash, and they had great Wi-Fi out there. Mr. Haldeman couldn't say enough good things. And all the judges said it was absolutely the best of any event of the year. So. All right, now we'll move into items for action and discussion. Can I get a motion for item H1, approval of the second reading of proposed district policies? Motion by Mr. Hoyt, second by Mrs. Sun. Discussion on these? After we are done discussing, or we don't discuss, this is the second reading, so they would immediately become our district policies. All those in favor? Mr. Hoyt, sorry, I just need your hand. All those in favor? Thank you. And with that, we'll move into item H2, acceptance of the independent audit report. We'll make the motion and then open for discussion. And we do have a representative here tonight for any questions. So can I get a motion to accept
I'll
H2?
make the motion. Sorry.
Mr. McCarthy, second by Mr. Loy. Open it up for, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to summarize, or you're here just for questions? The floor is yours.
Mostly just here for questions, but I did have a nice meeting with your audit committee prior to the board meeting tonight. Went through an executive summary. I hope you've all had a chance to look over the financial statements. Just a quick summary. Overall, the fund balance in the general fund increased by about $257,000 in 2019. The district created 2 new reserves for retirement contributions and funded those, and then increased the amount that's being appropriated for the 19-20 budget by $500,000. So essentially, most of that increase in fund balance is actually being returned in the 19-20 budget to the voters of the district. So overall, I think it was very positive audit this year. The district's in a very solid financial position, I think, moving forward. Good budgeting and oversight practices by your business office and the board. So I'll take any questions you guys have.
Board? I will say the same thing I said last year, so this isn't aimed at you, but next year I would really like if we can get this a week earlier, because my weekend was spent, not just the audit report, but between everything in our packet, there was over 300 pages for us to consume. That's really tough in a weekend. So next year, if there's anything we can do to move that timeline to give us a little more time, that would be great.
Absolutely.
But
I just made partner this year, so now I have a little more power to make that happen for you. So.
There you go. We want his business card. That's good. No, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to serve you guys.
We brought cake for you today.
All right, if there are no further comments then, all those in favor accepting H2? Thank you. It's the end of our agenda tonight, so can I get a motion to close the meeting? Motion. Second. I'm going to go with Hoyt Loy on that. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.